After finishing and completing the Order 1886, I can confidently say that this video game was and still is highly underrated. The Order 1886 isn't perfect, but in my opinion it deserved more attention due to many factors that I really enjoyed while playing it, especially its story and characters. The Order 1886 was released in 2015. I didn't play it at the time. I was swayed by the mixed reviews this adventure, developed by Ready at Dawn exclusively for the PlayStation 4, received. I regret not playing it when it was released, because even after 10 years after its debut on Sony's fourth console, the Order 1886 has a stunning visual style and an engaging story that blends real and fictional settings. This action-adventure game offers gameplay that, in some cases, can feel lacking, and it's this aspect that received a lot of negative attention. I can understand that feeling and even share it, but not entirely. The Order 1886 lacked what makes a video game different from a movie: free interactivity without a rigid, restrictive script. At times, this video game becomes like a movie with predefined commands just to advance the plot, and that's boring. It uses and abuses quick time events, QTEs, which are supposed to be interactive, but it's an empty, superficial interactivity that in some cases, due to the continuous use of this technique, ends up boring and annoying the player, as it did me. For example, every time I saw the visual cue to trigger a QTE, I did it without interest. I'm not a big fan of implementing QTEs in a video game. In my opinion, they don't add anything to the table. They give zero control over events, or at least the illusion of how to approach certain situations with variables. One of the other criticisms of the Order 1886 was, and still is, its length as a video game. But I completely disagree with that negative assessment. The game can be finished in around 9 to 10 hours. For me, that's enough for a certain types of video games. And the Order 1886 has a perfect length for the story it wants to tell, although its ending leaves much to be desired. Not all games have to be 50 hours or more, filled with pointless filler missions. It's like saying a 3-hour movie is better than a 90-minute one, just because of its length. Aside from these two aspects, detrimental to the reputation of Ready at Dawn's title, of which, in my opinion, only one has any justification for criticism, I found this adventure amazing and ravishing in its audiovisual presentation. The Order 1886 is set in London, in the year 1886 respectively, but it's not the London of our reality. This London, or rather the whole game world, is an alternate reality where civilization lives in a steampunk society. Mister, and what does steampunk mean? Glad you asked, buddy. Steampunk is a subgenre of science fiction. It incorporates retro-futuristic technology, as does the world where the story unfolds. It features an aesthetic heavily influenced by 19th century design and machinery, where most technology was powered by steam. Most stories that use steampunk are set in a Victorian Europe or the American frontier era. Some games set in a steampunk theme are Lies of P, Frostpunk, Dishonored, Professor Layton, Grandia, Skies of Arcadia, Myst, Thief, Bioshock, Final Fantasy VI, among many others. The Order 1886 is one of the best, in my opinion, at using this subgenre of science fiction in its story. Its setting is impeccable, and the developer's imagination in designing the weaponry used in the game is exceptional, man. Talking about the weaponry, it combines common weapons with more fictional ones, such as one that fires thermite, a metallic powder, which, when ignited, reacts explosively at extreme high temperatures. Like the one that grandmas drink, it burns your tongues, man. Hot, 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 baby. And there's a weapon that fires energy beams, disintegrating everything it touches, leaving it a dust, ash, sawdust, my friends. All the technology available to the player was created in the video game by a legendary inventor, just as the story of this universe is legendary, where not only enemies are human. Such powerful weaponry is due to the fact that in this London of 1886, werewolves and vampires exist. Yes, ladies and dogs, doormats and bloodsuckers exist in this universe. And it's this detail that gives the story of this video game a unique appeal that captivated me from the first moment I play it. The main character is Sir Galahad, a knight of the Round Table and servant of the Order. And yes, in this universe, the story of the King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table is not fiction. It's a tangible reality, and not at all an invention. According to the story of the Order 1886, the Knights of the Order maintain the safety of the world by fighting hybrid monsters, half human, half animal. The war between humans and monsters began in the 7th and 8th centuries. Humans had the advantage of outnumbering the monsters. However, these half-human, half-animal creatures held the upper hand in strength and power, tipping the scales of the war in favor of werewolves and vampires. This is where King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table entered the scene, man. King Arthur was a legendary king of Britain, a folk hero, and a central figure in the literary tradition of the Matter of Britain, or Arthurian legend. According to Welsh sources, Arthur was a leader in the battles against the Anglo-Saxons of the 5th and 6th centuries. His first mentions in historical sources were the Annales Cambriae and the Historia Brittonum. I think I butchered the pronunciation on those ones, but hey, give me a pass. But most historians do not consider Arthur a historical figure. A controversial assessment indeed. The Knights of the Round Table, or in my disastrous French, Chevalier de la Table Ronde, are the battle companions of King Arthur, who first appeared in the 12th century literary works. The Knights are an order of chivalry with one mission: of defending King Arthur's kingdom, as well as embarking on the mystical quest for the Holy Grail. Returning to the video game, King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table battling monsters realize they have no chance of defeating them. But two events begin to change the fate of humanity. The first one is the Knights of the Round Table's discovery of a mystical and magical liquid, the black water. Hey, and I'm not talking about the kind of that leaks from the sewage. Hey? This liquid, when ingested, heals all wounds and extends the life of the consumer. The second factor that tipped the scales of the war between humans and monsters was the Industrial Revolution, where inventors, engineers, and scientists began to build weapons with highly advanced technology. This countered the monster's inhuman strength. In the autumn of 1886, Sir Galahad and his squadron were immersed in a fierce conflict. On one hand, London is being attacked by anti-government insurgents, and on the other, werewolves' attacks have intensified. No chance anywhere, man. In the game, you can only control Sir Galahad, a character with a strong sense of values, a knight who believes in the Order's mission. Sir Galahad is a valiant soldier, and his actions are always for the greater good. Sir Percival is Sir Galahad's mentor. In fact, Sir Galahad will give his life for his mentor, and considers him an older brother. Sir Percival is one of the oldest knights in the Order, very wise, and his actions are meticulous and precise. He trusts no one, not even his own shadow, and that's why Sir Percival senses that the Order of Knight is changing. He senses that something is amiss. Lady Igraine is a warrior with a strong personality, a fighter, and a sharp wit. She doesn't let herself be underestimated and is always ready for any situation. Her somewhat defensive attitude towards any comment from another knight is understandable in an order where the members are mostly male. She is a very skilled and intelligent soldier, and you can notice there's definitely something going on between Lady Igraine and Sir Galahad. They are clearly having a romantic relationship, which in the Order's rules prevent them from openly discussing it. But it's obvious there was and still is something between them. Celebrity gossip and rumors, my guilty pleasure. And the last but not the least member of the squad is the character of Marquis de Lafayette, personally my favorite character. He's a rogue with Casanova tendencies, an irreverent charmer who talks to any girl he sees. An idol, my fellow robots. This young man is the newest member of the squad, and he has a deep respect and an immense admiration for Sir Galahad. His attitude is amusing, but this young warrior has an immeasurable passion for the freedom of society. And as you can see, these knights have famous names. And that's because in the tradition of the Order of the Knights of the Round Table, all members are nicknamed after the original knights of the Order. For example, Sir Galahad received the nickname of one of the three knights who achieved the Holy Grail, Galahad, the illegitimate son of Sir Lancelot du Lac and Lady Elaine de Covernic. Sir Percival, the main knight in obtaining the Holy Grail. Lady Igraine is the name of the King Arthur's mother, and Marquis de Lafayette is the name of a French military officer who fought alongside George, aka Jorgito, Washington in the American Revolutionary War. The Order 1886 is a third-person action-adventure game. Its main gameplay involves shooting from cover, and a few short levels offer some exploration. Certain sections also features various types of very simple puzzles. While the game doesn't offer much freedom when exploring the streets of London, nor its underground areas, it's a visual feast. The city exudes desolation, danger, and misery, reflecting the unbalanced era of its inhabitants. The downside is that the game is very linear, which can be frustrating when you want to explore the environments more. However, I think that the linearity of the adventure could have allowed the developers to create such a detailed world. It's like a trade-off. In the shooting sections, the feeling of opening fire is very satisfying, precise, and intuitive. The variety of weapons ensures these encounters are never boring. In fact, I wish there were more of them. I had a lot of fun in the sniper rifle sections, my favorite weapon in the game. Getting headshots is a pure bliss. The fight against the Fury werewolves is different from the fight against the human insurgents. The werewolves attack with a surprise and speed, so you have to react quickly. Shoot them to bring them down, and in that moment of weakness, you must approach and deliver the final blow with Sir Galahad's knife to the heart of the Fury creatures. Werewolves have the ability to heal themselves like Wolverine. During the game, there are stealth sections as well as fights against enemies that could be considered bosses. These fights seem very guided to me, making them forgettable, since they again overuse the boring quick-time events, the QTEs, baby. The levels where the action takes place are diverse, ranging from popular and famous London locations like Whitechapel to its intimate underground areas. And even a level in the sky, inside and outside an impressive Zeppelin. Historical figures, both real and fictional, make an appearance in the Order 1886. Among them is Nikola Tesla, the engineer, futurist, and inventor born in Smiljan, a region in what is now Croatia, the homeland of Davor Zucker and Luka Modric. Tesla contributed to the electrical system used daily in society. Also present is the Queen Consort Lakshmi of Jhansi, one of the most significant figures of the Indian Rebellion of 1857, leading the insurgency against the British. Another figure who appears in a more sinister version is the infamous Jack the Ripper, a serial killer who terrorized the districts of London in 1888. The killer was never identified, and his victims were mostly prostitutes. The murders remained unsolved, and for that reason the legend and conspiracies surrounding Jack the Ripper began to grow, continuing to this day, But the video game version of Jack the Ripper is cleverly altered. In this game's reality, the president of the United India Company, Lord Hastings, is Jack the Ripper. But he's not your typical serial killer. This Jack is none other than an ancient vampire. Therefore, the story presents conspiracies, betrayals, and jealousies, as some members of the Knightly Order have allied themselves with beasts to control the world. One of them is the adopted brother of Lady Igraine, who is the daughter of the Order's president, Lord Chancellor. This adopted son of Lord Chancellor, named Sir Lucan, named after King Arthur's servant, one of his first allies, is a knight with less authority than his adopted father, but slightly more than the other knights. Sir Galahad and Sir Lucan were always close, and Sir Lucan was aware of the romantic escapades between Sir Galahad and Lady Igraine. Sir Lucan harbored a secret of enormous proportions, and he was one of those who had betrayed the Knightly Order. His motive? To defend his kind. That is, this individual had always been a werewolf, and hid it right under the other knights' noses. Sir Galahad never suspected a thing. I sometimes think that Sir Galahad is naive, because of his immense loyalty and respect for the values of the knightly order. And that's a very critical weak point of Sir Galahad. However, Sir Lucan always had an ally in his adopted father, Lord Chancellor. Lord Chancellor in his youth, who fought against many packs of werewolves or lycans, faced the difficult situation of having to annihilate an entire family of these beasts. But he could not bring himself to take the life of the infant. He adopted Lucan and guided him throughout his life. This turning point in the game's story intrigued me. According to information from Sir Lucan and Lord Chancellor, it can be said that all these knights of the order have lived for hundreds and hundreds of years, thanks to the black water. That's when I remembered Lady Igraine, after surviving an attack by an ancient werewolf and being healed by the black water, desperately telling Sir Galahad that she was tired of that life, of that pain, of fighting. She also tells Sir Galahad that they should leave the order, go far away, and live together. She wants a simple, mundane, and peaceful life. Knowing that these knights had witnessed and lived through disastrous events, I understand Lady Igraine's reaction better. In my opinion, Sir Galahad should have accepted Lady Igraine's proposal. But his obsession with the Order's mission prevented him from thinking clearly. Sir Galahad acted like a sheep, obeying orders without critical thought. An incident that opened his eyes, his mind, and in a sense was the awakening of Sir Galahad, was the death of Sir Percival, his mentor and allegorical brother. This tragic event for Sir Galahad occurred at the end of the Zeppelin mission. Sir Percival, having some knowledge and an intuition that the Order of Knights had been corrupted by enemy forces, tried to avert catastrophe within the Zeppelin through dialogue. Sir Percival was unable to convince an insurgent not to activate an explosive device inside the giant balloon they were in. And upon hearing the insurgent, I understood why Sir Percival was trying to peacefully dissuade him, who, before activating the explosive, shouted forcefully that they were not the enemy, that they were fighting for the same objective as the Knights of the Order. When I heard those words, I knew Sir Percival knew something, and his premonition had a strong basis in reality. Unfortunately, the insurgent, in his nervousness, didn't pay attention to Sir Percival's words. And you know what? Sir Galahad, who was also facing the insurgent, was right to want to shoot him to prevent the explosion. If that happened, they could have saved many lives, including Sir Percival's. Sir Percival died in the Zeppelin's free fall after the explosion. He couldn't take the black warrant and perished. This was a devastating blow for Sir Galahad. But it was then that he began to doubt the orders of knights. Sir Galahad began to investigate the reasons behind his mentor's actions. With the help of Lakshmi, the leader of the insurgents, Sir Galahad began to discover that the order had been corrupted by enemy forces. He was captured by the same order, unjustly accused of attempting to kill Lord Hastings, who kept his vampire identity hidden. Sir Galahad was sentenced by the Order of Knights. Even Lady Igraine herself passed judgment. This was a profound blow for the knight. His love, his battle companion. She didn't doubt his guilt, driven by jealousy. Lady Igraine revealed her true colors. Her judgment, her thinking had been completely corrupted by her father, Lord Chancellor. That Lady Igraine of the beginning, the irreverent one, the one with critical and independent thinking, no longer existed. Her mind was clouded by the jealousy she felt upon seeing Sir Galahad and Queen Lakshmi working together on a mission. I imagine Lady Igraine thought there was some kind of romance between them, but no. And Sir Galahad didn't tell her anything about what he had discovered in order to protect her. But by doing so, he distanced her not only from the problem, but from himself as well. The story of the Order 1886 ends abruptly, with Sir Galahad confronting Sir Lucan in his Lycan form, and ultimately discovering the whole truth. He was always a werewolf and protected by the Lord Chancellor. In this situation, there's a very interesting conversation between Sir Galahad and Sir Lucan. Sir Galahad accuses Sir Lucan of atrocities his species has committed for centuries, but the werewolf responds cynically, saying that humans are the same, that they are hypocrites for thinking they are the good species in this world, that humans have committed the same barbarities or worse than werewolves. And you know what? He's absolutely right. That world, like the real world, is full of subjective shades of grey, with a society wallowing in hypocrisy, like a pig in a mud. The Order 1886 ends with a cliffhanger, the typical fade to black, and the sound of a revolver being fired. Sir Galahad may have killed Sir Lucan or he may not. The only thing we know is in a short epilogue where Sir Galahad is seen on a terrace talking to Tesla via intercom. In the background, London is engulfed in explosions and chaos. Tesla tells Sir Galahad that they are searching for him everywhere and that it will be best for the knight to escape as soon as possible. To which Sir Galahad replies that he must finish what he started, and firmly reminds him that he's no longer Galahad, nor a knight. In my opinion, Sir Galahad still believes in the Order's mission. He wants to expose the truth, to see the Lord Chancellor condemned and his betrayal and corruption exposed. But beyond that, Galahad still loves Lady Igraine. He wants to find her, open her eyes, prove his innocence, show her that his actions were justified, that he didn't throw his values away, that he still upholds the Order's mission, and tell her that he loves her. Lamentably, it's impossible to know what will happen in the story. Due to sales and mixed reception, Sony cancelled any sequel to this title by the studio ready at dawn. It's a shame, as the Order 1886 story had a lot of potential. In fact, it still has potential, but only if Sony and its PlayStation division ever decide to make a new game and stop with the remake of our remasters of The Last of Us. It's a pity that the Order 1886 had a plot that unfolds slowly, which for a video game doesn't quite come together and leaves a void that in the 8 hours of gameplay feels more like the beginning, as if everything is about to get more interesting controlling an independent Galahad, not following orders from any higher up, and being able to fight more werewolves alongside vampires. The first game shouldn't have ended like that. It should have offered more, since Ready at Dawn wasn't certain they would have the green light from Sony to begin the sequel. Players are left with more questions than answers, and a bad taste in their mouths for leaving so many loose ends, which in my opinion will never be resolved. Ready at Dawn was shut down in 2024. The studio couldn't recover from the release of The Order 1886. After that title, the Irvine, California-based studio worked mostly on virtual reality games that didn't achieve much success. Ready at Dawn had previously worked on games like Daxter, God of War Chains of Olympus, the Nintendo Wii version of Okami, God of War Ghost of Sparta, and God of War Origins Collection. They had a great track record. But in this video game industry, one wrong move can trigger a chain reaction which from very studios can escape. For my part, I will always wonder what will have happened to the game's characters. For example, Galahad fighting werewolves and vampires in London to prevent them from taking control? Could Galahad be beaten or forced to become a vampire to gain superhuman strength and abilities? Will Galahad be involved in a love triangle with Jancy and Lady Igraine? Will Lafayette join Galahad in the shadows as a vigilante on the fringes of the law? Will Tesla develop new weapons? Are there other kinds of bestial enemies? Lizard men? Frankenstein's monster? Egyptian mummies? The possibilities are endless. The Order 1886 is currently very affordable. I recommend it to anyone who wants to see how a great idea can be wasted by executives who only think about short-term profits and have no patience for the big picture. Hey Sony, it's time to stop releasing remakes of The Last of Us and dust off the franchises you have locked away in the archives, one of them being The Order 1886. Okie dokie. Thank you for your time and I wish you the best in life. Until next time.